It's like we have people going. All right. Timer is running.
So, and Never Nathaniel, if you could do Gabriel and Peanut Jack scoring, I'll do Hart and Sato.
Sounds good.
All right.
The players now.
So what do we have here? We have Echo Right with primary or with a non-exiled Stygian. Yeah, so we got Lance.
I just did this with Highlander, like literally 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
going for Jack Strip versus I forget the name of the one that does damage to enemies, serving a similar role. We have Marsh Lord.
Yeah, no repeater. Option. It's Marsh Lord versus Shellsmith, so no repeater option. I think for a lot of the players, Marsh Lord's going to be the pick here, especially with Bounding Echoes as a starter card. That's actually a really consistent way to get that off the ground. I would have liked to see repeater here if it was available, given that this is Stygian. I think a lot of your more powerful combo decks involve either Stygian or Awoken. But yeah, so, not being an option.
I will mention
kind of a huge update. Hart went for Sketches of Salvation, which is
risky.
Kind of crazy variants run here. We'll see his run ending.
I will need to probably rearrange which screen is whose. It's those. So we got Gabriel, Jack.
One of the things that I quite like, though, if you do go Marsh Lord with Stygian, is that with the eggs, if you can merge them with any kind of incant, that tends to be really powerful, especially on Bog Chrysalis, because you get the really, really clean growth on your Bog Flies, which normally you don't get with other clans. Right. So it can work really well. It's basically doubling the effect of your incant.
I'm really curious how the Sketches of Salvation run is going to end up. Do you just go with a whole bunch of eggs and whatever happens? Yeah.
If you do, I almost think you're obligated to put Endless on them so that you can at least later bring them back and put them with your Marsh Lord. I think it's...
You could also just go with a bunch of incanters as another.
Yeah, my inclination is to avoid picking up extra eggs. Play your Marsh Lord as like a second floor that can pick off some things at the end, or as a softening wave if possible. But you have access to a lot of incanters or inspire creatures that all kind of want to be doing the same things on the same floor, because a lot of your spells are also going to have infuse on them. So I think you just build some kind of massive incant inspire floor in middle. I think once you get out of the early game, the Sketches is really strong, but there's definitely some scary fights 1 and 2.
So unsurprisingly, everyone having a pretty smooth time on this ring 1 with Jack Strips basically nullifying a lot of the challenge.
Yeah, Mark of Invasion, very easy to deal with Jack Strips. You can lose your wave a bit early sometimes to the Mark of Invasion before the Jack Strips go off, but when you're playing Echo Break and Frozen Lance, you're pretty set against the Clergyman.
Not seeing really like super strong drafts here.
No, not really.
I see some people went for Offering Token in the hopes of getting offerings later, I assume.
Ideally, you would get something like the Bounding Echoes in the same turn as your Offering Token. That could be advantageous. With it now infusing, it's a little bit... unless you really go all in on incant, without an enabler, I think it's a little bit of a strange pick.
I do like the Titan Sentry as an option, as a draft, as like a throwaway on the bottom floor. There's a lot of incoming damage for the Temperament and Divinity for that sake.
Once you have Sketches, and then it's not so good when you get Sketches.
So Sato here.
I didn't notice Peanut Jack also took Sketches. I didn't notice that.
Interesting.
So Sato here, with very diligent play, decides to not take quick, holds off, and re-rolls his Merchant of Steel without the ability to pay for a rare upgrade because he had boons, divine boons there. He didn't intend to take the boons originally, but then he saw multi-strike on the re-roll. So snapped that one off.
That's a great way to use it.
He also got the quick action.
We have a great draft, though. We have the Proclamation and infused Proclamation as an option, ring 2. I like that.
The only issue is unless you have a lot of consume, which I guess in this case they do. They have the 2 Bounding Echoes, that helps a lot. But assuming you didn't have the 2 Bounding Echoes, it could be very difficult to play the Proclamation and also get your eggs to hatch. But I think here with the Hosting Kins and in addition, having the bounty echoes, we're probably gonna be okay. At least hatching the the first couple of ranks. We'll have to see how it goes with Boglord, or Bogworm.
Keeper of Echoes is Heart's draft, I believe. I saw.
It's going to play pretty well in a Sketches deck. Really good
We do
scaling.
have Intrinsic, which I think there's a lot of options there that open up with Intrinsic.
I was thinking about these
So in terms
eggs
of
here.
speed,
Nate.
in terms of speed, I mean, Heart's like flying pretty quick here.
Yeah.
Oh, and he does have a choice. The next choice is going to be between two different eggs. Interesting.
He goes for Kinhost. I like Kinhost. It's one of the few eggs that I've made work well.
Same here. It's my favorite egg.
Honestly, you'll save a lot of time just being on a Sketches deck. Just much less decision making.
You know, there's kind of a weird thing you could do, especially if you're on a Sketches deck. You could take the Bog Chrysalis and put on the Icy Xylophyte in order to get double action triggers. If you wanted to try to do a spell weakness build, I don't think so far they have like the cards for it. There was an Ice Tornado, but that could be a possibility.
They've got
Build
the build a card.
Yeah, it's a very early
He's
old
going
Magic.
with the regen. He's going with regen and healing. Interesting. I don't know, regen and buff.
Gold this early is going to be great.
So just for viewers watching, it's currently tied. So everyone cleared both Ring 1 and 2 without taking any pyre damage. So we're all looking at a clean score of 30 across all 4 players.
Now, another thing to keep in mind here with these Sketches decks, you have a lot of essences coming out of Wormkin that increase capacity, and they're usually kind of duds because of that. Does not matter in the Sketches deck, so maybe you'll get some high-value essences here.
That being said, you probably want something on the top floor with your champion.
Yeah, still generally better to keep the units to 3 capacity or less, but you don't have to go any lower than that. You can upgrade some 2 capacity things to 3 and be fine.
Man, I just keep getting reminded how much better Jackstrip is. I mean, it's not like it's changed, but I mean, you're seeing so much value, even in these, getting these early shards. Just not having to worry at all about these 1 health units is a real lifesaver for a lot of these builds.
Yeah, before it might be like, oh, I can't use my removal on the big target because I have to own the backliner. But now, like, you don't kill the backliner and you're dead. Like, you get 25 damage on you or whatever.
Yeah.
I gotta mention here that Peanut Jack made the exact same build spell as Heart.
Oh, really? I missed that. So he's going for regen and money and damage. Interesting.
I didn't see what he just fused onto the Icy Xylophyte. Was it a... I didn't see. It must have been one of the eggs.
Yeah, I saw someone put a Carapace on Icy Xylophyte earlier, but I don't know what he just did.
Interesting. So Jackstrips is going to kill most of those, but he could have killed the Easter.
So the Jackstrip's also a lot more value than it has been in tournaments of past, given that we're now away from the built-in scoring system. Just because you can actually get use out of it, where typically before it wasn't as valuable if you're having to just play on lower floors. Obviously, you still end up getting to pick off a lot of the units you couldn't get rid of earlier, but now you aren't taking the damage.
I think it's more of like a trial hedge, right? So that you can just start taking those enemies on every floor trials without having to worry about playing on the top floor. But yeah, like
Gabriel and Sato also built the same spell as each other.
Interesting. So we have the 2 Sketches people building 1 spell and the 2 non-Sketches building a different spell. Interesting.
Yeah, they went rage, damage, and raw.
Oh,
rage damage.
Heart barely getting. Actually, no. Now that he's played a couple spells, we got a little bit better. But it was
got
getting
a clean Ring 3 after the incants. So flawless victory also all around. Oh, we have Symphony of Soul with the regen. I wonder if that's a thing.
I also don't hate Unearthed Remains, but I don't know. I mean, it is one more consume card, but
It's
I'm
going
trying
to
to
be
think how
hard to
much.
get that 5 extract consistently. So he skips.
He skips.
By the way, one thing
Another
we've
choice of eggs here. Anyway,
So-
sorry. Go ahead.
one thing we've seen here happen several times so far. Actually, there's a lot of marginal pieces of value on the offering token that, you know, as long as you're doing at least something with the trigger, or, you know, have the at least the potential long term to do something with offering, then that's great. But generally, what happens is the offering token isn't getting you an extra card; it's card neutral, unless you're discarding a dead weight or a card that you couldn't otherwise play. Well, a lot of these extract cards have been stuck in hand in some of the early turns, and offering token has gotten free discards on those. So actually, you know, it's again still a very marginal thing, but you add that on top of things like dead weight or other cards that you aren't going to be able to play, or the fact that you're probably going to end up going card draw here and not have enough mana to play things consistently. I think these offering tokens are just fine, even with pretty low upside.
Well, I mean, you talk about that example, but in that example, it doesn't provide you any value unless you're getting something. Even then, because you would have drawn
The next card
past
anyway.
it. Yeah. So, it's there to provide you with potential value. No one really has that yet, but there's still options. There's incant armor even at some point is still going to be an option.
So Seda looks to be a little bit in trouble compared to the others, but we had a clean kill with Peanut Jack. Gabriel also, with his army of bogflies, is certainly looking very strong as well. But yeah, Sado, he has just the 2 Train Steward and a Keeper.
Not
I don't
very
know if
much
it's going to
health.
do it.
Yeah. So he lost his champion.
Yeah, he played on the bottom floor, and I think it's coming back to hurt him.
We might have the first restart.
He has some strong spells, but it's not going to be enough.
And Gabriel does get a clean kill on to Talos, and we are with a 3-way tie right now. No flying kills, but a 3-way tie. The only thing separating them is that Hart has a tremendous amount of shards compared to the other players.
Yeah, and also he's just blazing through.
Yep, so we have Sato on a restart against Talos. Which couldn't quite get there. Waves may be a bit too thick, but also had to invest a lot of resources into killing a lot of the shard-enhanced enemies. He went pretty high threat level early. And it's not panning out as well for him as it is for Hart.
I think it's very risky playing March Lord on the bottom floor ever, because if you can't hatch the egg, it gets a little bit of extra health, but it's not going to survive. Like, it's going to die very quickly. It looks like even here he might sack the egg just to keep the Silo Fight alive. But looks like the egg will have, it might survive. Yeah, oh yeah, with Jack Strips. This Jack Strips, he should have enough time now to hatch it.
I saw a lot of plays yesterday during the course of the tournament where people would set up on the bottom floor.
There's a feels bad for Gabriel. You have multi-strike in store with just short 10 coins.
Rough.
Or 5 coins.
So Jack is on a long think here about a repeater split with his Martial Lord. I think the deck might be split a little too far, especially with the Bounding Echo starts. Yeah, he chooses to just go Martial Lord too. Once you have a certain number of consumed spells, it's really tough to try and do anything insane with that repeater.
So far, no damage from Hart onto the boss. He's just going to kill that front unit and hopefully rely on his top floor. He will have the steadily increasing reap damage from his... I can't think what it's called right now, but from the egg unit, and that will help a bit. I think he should be able to do it, but it's going to be a little close here.
He's thinking about Echo breaking his own unit so that he doesn't burn spell weakness.
Yeah, it would not have changed any thresholds, I don't think.
Oh, he's fine. Yeah, I think even if they were dying off, he's going to get enough reap onto it because you get 2 per attack. I mean, you think that's another at least 60 to 70 damage.
So clean kill for Hart on ring 4. So far, so flawless.
He did not take the trial, I didn't think, though, did he?
I didn't catch that.
Everyone else seems like they did take the trial. Actually, he might have, because he has a lot of coins right now. I think he would have had to have taken the trial.
So Gabriel taking the reflection here. Interested to see what comes out of these drafts packs now.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a different camp on that. You're not a fan of the reflection, but I've always had good success with it.
I've not always had good success with it, but it's pretty common.
So Sato getting a clean kill here. Just needed to play on that middle floor. That was the ticket for him, and
Yeah.
he's able to move on.
Yeah, so with jack strips, I mean, it would be surprising when bottom floor would be the right setup. So
Gabriel has gone all in on the eggs, I see.
Yes, yeah, he's got Kinhost Bogfly City building up there.
We've had some very generous merchants so far, by the way. We've seen quick, multi-strike, and holdover already. A lot of good merchants. I'm also curious to see how this deck develops long term, because it's definitely very unit based right now. But typically your Stygian decks, and even most of your ones that involve Echo Right, turn into decks that try to pre-clear with spells into the late game. And that's something that can develop really late. You know, you get an Ice Storm, Ring 7.
proclamations.
Yeah.
I mean, even with just a proclamation, that's going to do a lot of.
Especially with the dispel guaranteed spell weakness on the top floor. It does make sense, I think, to pivot a little bit. I wouldn't go full on spell damage, but certainly getting some mixed in there makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't lean towards trying to use that as your way to get flying kills or something like that. I don't think there's going to be enough spell weakness or big enough spells. But pre-clearing waves when you're on an egg build and you don't have an insane amount of sustain is pretty solid, just making sure they don't hit your units by just demolishing them with spells.
I would honestly, I would just take the Ancient Resonance. I would take it and try to get +10 with Piercing. On a top floor that has spell weakness, even with just like 5 or 6 shards, you're doing 50 damage AoE Piercing. That's going to be a lifesaver during Divinity. I can see.
Yeah, I mean, even just removing
the
the spikes is so much damage mitigation.
So also worth having more things to put magic power on right now. Kind of just the proclamation and the other extract card. Not an abundance of things.
Echo breaks.
So
at least not an abundance of things that take them well.
Both Gabriel and Peanut Jack clearing ring 4 without any damage. So we still have a 3-way tie between Hart, Peanut Jack, Gabriel, Sato behind because of his restart on Talos. But Hart is definitely in the lead in terms of time and also in terms of shards. So the others can still catch up.
He's already got 100 shards, yeah. So Hart, each shard he takes now is going to contribute to a bonus. Well,
so now
iPhone has some commentary.
We haven't talked an insane amount about the Sketches deck that Jack is building, but he's got several really large Wormkin units, and also he just picked up a Frenzied Swarm, which is a very good defensive plan for your Sketches kill floor. I mean, that's enough sustain to just make sure that kill floor is going to demolish the Relentless fight.
And he made it free and holdover now as well.
Yeah, I like Frenzied Swarm.
What I like is the idea of Marsh Lord. You can kind of do it how you used to do Penumbra, right? As goal keep. So you just put your Marsh Lord up top. You have your middle floor who's doing most of the damage and dealing with Relentless, and then you just have a trample up top to clean out anything that makes it pass. I think it's a very smart setup.
It's basically what Hart's doing. I assume Peanut Jack is playing as well.
Hart getting a clean kill on ring 5.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and making sure to squeeze out that tiny bit of extra gold by bringing it back with Total Recall, by bringing back the old magic.
Return Soul, yeah.
Return Soul, yeah. A little bit of extra value. Always love to see it. We do have the Ancient Resonance in Gabriel's build. He went for a single Emberstone on it. Not sure if the plan is just to throw.
That was from his.
Oh, the reflection.
Ice Storm. Infused Ice Storm available in the Ring 5 draft.
Ooh.
Ice Storm is one of
Oh,
my favorite
Gabriel.
cards in Stygian deck since the release of Divinity.
Because
Gabriel
Spell Chain
grabbed
and
one of the Penitent Yard artifacts. I think it's
Oh.
the one with. Is it
so
extra
10
bad?
damage and 10 damage and piercing on Ice Storm. Not too shabby.
I think it's actually generally pretty close between the 10 damage piercing and the plus 30 on that, if you're planning on holding it over. The 10 damage piercing, you know, it has a different utility. Each of them is a little different from one another.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a choice in this case, though. Now, we got a Train Steward with magic power.
I mean, gotta get
infusion.
those shards somehow.
It's got 150 shards now. Heart going for the shard bonus.
Yeah, I'm not sure
the
if
only
he's
issue-
read the new scoring system. He might be going for 300 or so.
The only concern that I have is he does not have the extra damage. And even with the Ice Storm, a single tick is not going to kill a backliner because their base health is 20. So he would need at least 2 ticks to kill a backliner during Divinity unless he gets another upgrade for his Ice Storm.
Well, he probably left the slot open. There was no Merchant of Magic, so I'm confident that's something that he's thinking about. So we got a flawless kill from Sato. So other than the skip, he's kind of on pace. He would have been tied because he did get a flawless Ring 3.
Let's see. So
yeah, these bog flies for Gabriel are looking pretty dominant going into the end of this Ring 5 fight. That is a lot of HP and armor for this boss to get through, even with his stealth.
So I'm curious
Those
about
are
the long-term defensive plans here. We see currently a split between people going for the Frenzied Swarm and people just taking the Unnamed Tome from that pack. I like the Unnamed Tome a lot. But you do have to think about, you know, what is your long-term defensive plan. I assume they have something in mind, and it probably does just involve pre-clearing. This deck is pretty well set up to just pre-clear waves.
The other thing too is I think Gabriel put the incant armor onto his bog flies, so he does have some sustain there. Bogworm will sustain himself as long as you're playing consume cards with his etch. It's really only then your champion, and to be honest, you can even stack your champion, and it's not the end of the world. So for the others, for the middle, this is what the sketches builds. If you get a bad sketches roll, it could be a little bit problematic. It does look like the 2-keeper setup from Heart seems to be the most stable because then you don't really have to concern yourself too much. As long as you're getting a few infusions per turn, you probably sustain okay. But we'll have to see.
So Gabriel's Reflection doing some work for him in this draft pack. The Ice Storm in this pack got holdover, and the Spike of the Stygian got double stack. I'd still lean towards the Ice Storm.
The only problem with having it be holdover is that you can't get more than just the 10 piercing, which I think, as I said, but he does have, you know what, he does have the spell weakness, so he's not as at risk as some of the others who don't have the spell weakness, who took the sketches instead. Oh, I also didn't notice, Hart took a double stack onto his spell weakness.
Yeah, Energy
Which
Siphon.
I also think makes a lot of sense. Energy Siphon, yeah.
Do
So
we-
he is kind of pivoting into this spell damage oriented setup.
Do we think we'll see any spell damage based flying kills? I'm not sure that this deck has the potential for that. It's probably just used to help plug leaks.
You would,
I mean, yeah.
you have to get like Ancient Synergy and be able to kill everything before they get there, and I don't think that's going to be possible.
I think you need the damage just to clear the waves, honestly. Like,
This is a very good large shard from this event. I like the Petrified Heart here.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's no healing to be had.
Except for those who built with Region.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah,
true.
I'm not
The
sure.
one region, old magic, coming back to curse you. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure they're relying on the 4 region that much. If I'm being honest.
I mean, they could if they
interesting.
got holdover.
So we're gonna have a kin host with magic power and some extra HP. Not bad. It's not terrible. The top floor is gonna do. I mean, not Ice Storm now. Base Ice Storm is gonna be doing 21 damage with the magic power, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that's
Clean
actually the
Arcus
consideration that
from
put him over the
Arc
line
as
there.
well.
So clean kill from Heart for ring 6. It's got a whole bunch of magic power in that middle ring because of the mollusk mages.
Ice and Pyre. I mean, it doesn't help with his mollusk mages, but it certainly helps with that top floor. There's also incubation coming up, so for those that went the full egg build, they get that nice little prize to add to their deck.
Yeah, Gabriel.
We can tell that Hart is in the no egg camp by the fact that he has not mastered that card. Sitting there with the silver border.
Hey, why not master it in the tournament? Too bad you can't count it.
Yeah, I know, Nate. You sent me that challenge with what was it, Eel Gorgon, and I'd never encountered Eel Gorgon actually, but I couldn't master it.
It's such a good card.
It is such a good card.
I know. I
It's
wish
also
I would see it in a
sometimes
run
really
once.
bad card, but normally it's a good card.
I wish I had ever encountered it in run. That would have been great.
Should just put in millions of hours like I do.
You know, I've only seen what's it called? The what is it called? The one in Wormkin. The rare one in Wormkin. Only one time. The
Glugsider?
big fat one. Yeah. And it was
Glug.
amazing.
Oh yeah,
It's hilarious, but only
Yeah.
one time. And it
I had the sketches with Glugsider. That was my only Glugsider run.
I got an old magic with Ascend, so I could actually fit him on the same floor as my Spine Chief.
So I don't think I've ever encountered
Turns out it's pretty
Glugsider in natural lane runs. I don't think I've ever encountered Glugsider, Eel Gorgon, Apex Imp,
Sado,
or one of the
Sado with
others.
a clean ring 5.
I've encountered them all, but I haven't stamped my Glugsider yet.
It's a beast if you can somehow finagle getting it on a Spine Chief floor with multi strike and creating echoes.
Wow.
It gets pretty sick.
So he's looking up Bog Wormling. Hart is looking up to see what you get
What
from
it
March
does.
3.
I think you have to go all in at this point.
Yeah, I mean he's basically a solo floor anyway on top.
You might
Spell
as well
Shield.
take advantage of that extra capacity. And
So-
I would probably skip the trial here as well. I think his build, given the fact he has 500 coins already, and his build's already basically where it needs to be, I don't think you need to go for this trial at
And
all.
a lot of his damage is spell based. So
Gabriel with a clean ring 6 there.
I think the players who are going to struggle most with that decision are going to be Gabriel and Sato, because it doesn't feel like you have just quite enough power to win the run here, and both of them are pretty low on gold going into the final ring.
Looks like Sato's brain crashed.
reboot.
Getting holdover on his rage old magic there.
By the way, I think the consideration to put magic power on the egg for Gabriel, if you look at how he was, going back and forth between his deck and the Essence Infusion earlier, was the fact that he had just gotten that holdover Ice Storm from the Capricious Reflection. He kept looking at the Ice Storm and then back at that Mollusk Mage Essence.
Between
settled
Ice
on.
Storm and Ancient Resonance, I think it makes total sense to pick up that particular essence.
I'm curious.
It's the double X start. That's the dream.
I actually feel like there might have been some kind of a flying kill here that involved Icy Silophytes with Sketches of Salvation. Getting multiple copies of those, pre-clearing waves just with your floor, and then killing flowing bosses on top floor. Definitely some potential there.
Maybe. I'm not sold on that.
I think you'd
but
have to
maybe
have.
proclamation.
That's what I was gonna say. I think you'd have to have like a plus 30 proclamation. Then I could see it, and you'd have to absolutely guarantee your middle floor is clearing everything. But yeah,
But I think the build that goes for that wouldn't be as good in like non-flying kill situations. So it'd be a little challenging, and it wouldn't help in Divinity.
Hart really having to go out of his way to hatch his egg here.
So as I predicted, Gabriel going for the trial here, feeling like he didn't have enough gold going into the last ring.
yeah. I think what's helping a lot here is that holdover Ice Storm, which is just
74 damage on the boss for a heart. I think he's still got it though. We'll see. He only attacks
I'm pretty
once.
sure.
and Bogworm is thick. He's not a little boy. He's a big boy.
And it's still gonna hurt though.
Here.
But Energy Siphon lined up with Proclamation here.
Gabriel getting a clean ring 7. Wow, he's pulling ahead.
Oh, how many shards does Gabriel have?
He doesn't have as many shards. He's still down 25, but in
Oh.
terms of time, he's ahead.
He has that lined up with a an Ice Storm with 41 magic power.
Yeah, Hart was leading.
Yeah.
Hart was leading the pack until that.
I think he still should be fine here.
He's about to nuke
but
this
it's not-
boss with Ice Storm. Oh no, he's
Yeah, I
going
was
for
gonna
the
say-
Proclamation.
Yeah, that proclamation hits like a truck.
The Ice Storm is 41 though. That would hit for a little bit more.
But I think he's going to bring the ice. He's going to
Okay.
get both anyway. Doesn't matter. And then quick kill. Very good.
Big spell damage.
And even if he hadn't, I mean, he would have gotten at least 4 spell damage onto it from the Ice Fight and then cleared on the top floor.
Yeah, clean ring 7 for Hart.
Yeah, I love this return
So
soul.
Hart can maintain the shard advantage. I think he's going to take it.
Yeah, I think he's got it. It's more about second place. And Gabriel has a good foot in the door there.
In the meantime, Sato caught up with shards going into his ring 6 fight.
Oh, he had a clean ring 5, I think.
He did.
I missed it.
Yeah, he hasn't taken any damage. He just had the one restart from Talos, and that's it.
Return Soul has been putting in a massive amount of work, by the way, for these decks, letting you get the cards that you need at the exact time you need them. If there is something that you desperately need, making sure you can combo off against bosses at the end, and also on the way filtering out cards that you don't want to redraw. Return Soul has been insane.
Yeah, it's great card.
Large mollusk mage now from Hart. Why not?
Got the space, you might as well. And he's got sketches.
So Gabriel pivoted. I didn't realize he didn't take rank 3. He pivoted into repeater.
I guess he wanted the reap over the trample.
So he's actually going for increased echo capacity here to build up these botflies.
Yeah, he got
Echo Seedling as a trinket.
and he took advantage of that. He put extra slots all over that top floor. He will have not a few charged echoes that will remain after each turn.
I wonder if we'll ever see one of those runs where echoes go off the screen in a tournament setting.
Yeah, the infinite echo will run.
Okay, Sato does get a clean kill on ring 6 here.
Yeah. Echo Seedlings, by the way, just one of my favorite artifacts coming out of Wormkin. It does so much work. There's so many interesting, deliberate things you can set up with it. Really love that artifact.
I'm a bit curious how it's gonna look in the last Divinity fight. It's gonna be rough setting up top floor.
I think.
I mean,
Gabriel should be fine because he's got the incants. He's got a lot of armor, and the fact is he's going to be able to do a lot of bursts on all these units. I don't think anything's going to hit him. The only thing he'll probably lose is Echo Right. With
I think Hart is going to lose Echo, right? Because he's just not dedicating a lot of resources to that.
I also think that the middle floor multi-strike is going to burn through his floor pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree. That's going to be a little challenging.
Yeah,
That's a lot of spell damage, but that doesn't stop the boss.
the divinity fight could end up.
Seraph here.
So the divinity fight could end up being a big boon in terms of pulling ahead for these frenzied swarm players, but that's about timing. Timing is really going to matter there. Draw order coming into play.
No flying kills, but at least so far. But Gabriel is on last divinity fight, and he has had a flawless run so far. Let's see if he can finish this off, and then it all comes down to how well Hart performs.
Yep. Hart's got it if he can flawless. He doesn't need flying, but he needs to. Well, I don't know how it compares. Like, I think Sato's coming from behind here, and then Peanut Jack has had flawless runs as well.
The thing that Peanut Jack has over Hart here is that he does have the hold over Frenzied Swarm, and that's going to come in really valuable, protecting that middle floor from getting burst out very quickly.
Yep.
Some pretty high shard count.
Echo is going to do a decent job of protecting versus the boss if that's the only thing that's attacking.
Oh, so that's really interesting. He decides to dupe to get a fifth keeper or fourth keeper of Echoes and remove the Icy Silophyte. So losing the sweep in order to just get full value out of these
that makes sense.
keeper of Echoes. Interesting.
He does have multi-strike on 3 of them, so that leaves him with 7 individual strikes on that floor. That should be enough.
And the fact that out of every time you play, you're going to get what +4/+4 on all of your units. That's really huge.
Yeah.
Depends if what did he infuse in them? Did he infuse Keeper of
Mollusk
Echoes in
Mage.
Keeper of Echoes?
Mollusk Mages. That's what I've seen.
Mollusk Mages.
Oh, right.
So we are seeing a Mollusk Mage get killed on Gabriel, and he does have some leaks here.
Yeah, the bottom floor setup's pretty curious. I'm guessing it's a capacity issue.
Yeah, but I mean, then you don't get to take any advantage out of that spell weakness to protect your floor. He might not be able to finish this one. But it's certainly not going to flawless. So there's some opportunity for Peanut Jack and Sato to come back into this game.
Yeah, I'm worried about Hart being able to do Divinity as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking Peanut Jack might actually do best in the divinity fights here.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that. I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe we'll see Hart find a way, but I'm currently not seeing it.
I think Gabriel was hoping to do a little bit of pre-clear on bottom floor, even without the spell weakness, just thanks to the 2 copies of Holdover Ice Storm and the Trader's Quill with all the consume spells he has. The problem is once he started leaking, he was using those big protective spells to plug up the leaks, which then left his bottom floor vulnerable.
Yep.
Gabriel.
Yeah, so Gabriel officially restarting, so he's not able to get any more points.
So his final score will be 126. That means that if Hart can finish this Seraph fight without taking any damage, he will be in the lead for now. Sato also had to restart, so he's also a little bit behind. But Peanut Jack, this is definitely an opportunity for him. And also Peanut Jack, he bumped up to 200 shards. So as long as he plays a clean Seraph fight, he's going to qualify most likely.
So
Peanut Jack hasn't restarted or taken any damage, right?
No, he's had a very clean run. He's just a little bit paced behind, which is why we haven't been talking about him so much. But no, he's got the most shards out of everybody, and he's had flawless all the way through.
So he is actually looking like he's in the lead.
So Hart has a clean ring 8. which brings him in the actual lead because he is further ahead time-wise.
So by as long as he, I mean, basically, it's if Sato and Peanut Jack can both finish off their runs clean, then there's a chance that he doesn't make it if he doesn't beat Divinity. But even if he doesn't beat Divinity right now, he is above Gabriel by 1 point.
We have Confucius over here in chat ogling at the number of triggers on Peanut Jack's middle floor, and I enjoyed as well.
It's kind of gross to watch.
I love just the sea of text. The Star Wars sea of text flowing up from a floor. One of the best feelings in Monster Train.
So interesting. Hart sitting up on the bottom floor. That's probably a good play that I didn't think of.
Yeah, I think
buys a lot more time,
and it just allows his Echo Right to actually do something. His Echo Right would just die in a couple hits. So Gabriel is accepting the loss here. So he just gets to wait and see whether the other players can get through their runs without dying, basically, at this point.
You also have to think in terms of actually getting something out of the egg from Echo Right either. You really want to be playing these spells either bottom or middle for the sake of, pre-clearing waves a little bit or doing things on your Mollusk Mage floors. So having your additional etch creature be on bottom floor lets you actually make value out of spells rather than just leaving it up there to die while not casting any spells on the same floor. This Worm is actually doing a lot of pre-clear for him.
Yeah, Hart pulling out the silence. I'm not sure. I mean, the bottom floor could use a silence for sure, but it's a little late.
Yeah, I mean, those overcharge tanks, enhanced overcharge tanks give armor to every other unit on their floor. That can stack up real quick, especially when you're dealing with a spike wave. That'd probably be a massive leak.
So that was a clean kill onto Seraph for Peanut Jack, which means that Gabriel is officially the first player to be disqualified from the semifinals.
By 1 point.
By 1 point.
Taking that title away from, I think it was, who was it, Night Angel? Before, no, it was Rising Dusk, losing by 1 point for both of his losses yesterday.
So Hart, with this switch to the bottom floor, he is going to lose the Bogworm here, but if he can somehow keep this middle floor stable, he's going to be. This is when he's going to start bleeding units. Yeah, it might not be enough.
Interesting. So we haven't talked about it much, but Sato's plan for sustain on his second floor is actually really interesting. So he put holdover and -1 onto his old magic and then duped it, which means he's generating 8 regen a turn. It's actually pretty strong.
It's actually his is rage.
His is rage? Oh, he's okay.
His is rage.
There was a bunch of other people went for regen. That's a lot of damage. Well,
yeah.
That's a lot of damage
for Hart. It's not looking good for Hart here.
No. I think he might.
So I think Sato has a chance if he can just kill Divinity.
Yep.
That's his shot.
He does have more shards. He's at 195. So if he kills Divinity, he would by default get ahead. If he can flying kill, even
he
better.
He has to kill Divinity because of his restart.
Yep, exactly. Assuming that Hart can't somehow pull a win out of this.
Yeah, I mean, Divinity's down to 1,400 health, so it's not out of it entirely. He's lost his magic power, though, which is hurting.
look at the size of that icy
Peanut
fight.
Peanut Jack is just cruising through this fight. His keepers have 200 plus damage and all the health you need. He's gonna have a very, very clean. I think he'll flying kill here.
Yeah, that's looking very solid. So
I mean, Gabriel is surprising. Like, we all thought he's doing well with his setup, and he just fell a little bit short by not being able to kill Divinity.
I really think he should have stuck with his top floor. I think he had the armor gain with the incants to make it work. I understand the pivot, but I would have probably still tried to make top floor work because that having those eggs not hatch immediately I mean, his Bogworm just died instantly.
Yeah, I mean, he, like everyone else, had a look at that Frenzied Swarm. Elected not to take it. That might have been a way to do that. Obviously, it's not entirely reliable unless you go Intrinsic Holdover. But at least gives you the possibility to set up that top floor.
There's the
Getting
clean
through.
flying kill. Peanut Jack ending with 150 points. Hart currently at 127. Gabriel at 126. Sato, I think we need to bump up his score. He's on. He should have 6 and 6, I think, because you did beat ring 7, and that would put him
I was
to.
paying attention to Hart here.
So Sato at 98. So Sato has to make up 30 points, but he can do that with both a Gabriel or with a Seraph, with a Seraph and
do it with the
Divinity.
Gabriel.
If he can just kill Gabriel, he'll get his way through.
I think Hart might get the flying kill this turn.
Oh, really? Oh, he's going for a top floor. That makes sense.
Just burst him
with
out.
2 energy siphons. He needs to play Proclamation, but he has the energy siphons to generate the echoes.
He's going to bring it back a third time.
Yeah, so he's got it. He's busting it out. Oh, so close.
If he's doing any damage on the second floor, he's not. It's so close.
He's got 1 wave remaining, though.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has 1 wave.
So close.
But the bottom floor, he'll win. He'll kill on the bottom floor, despite losing all of his units.
He's getting a clean kill, but he doesn't get the flying kill.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Armor.
He made a mistake.
Armor from Overcharge Tanks or Darkwings.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he brings it back.
He brings it back. He's good.
Yeah, from
Oh,
Overcharge
wait.
Tanks.
Spell damage. Oh, we got it. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I wonder if he was panicking as much as we were. But he gets
I think
the kill.
He's got it was a clean kill.
Clean kill. He didn't take any fire damage.
So he's secured. I mean, I don't think Sato can do it unless he gets a flying kill.
Even if he gets 2 flying kills, it still won't be enough. That would only give him 40, and he's at 98 right now. So we have our top 2 are going to be Peanut Jack with a score of 150, Hart with a score of 142. Those that will be disqualified is Gabriel at 126, and Sato. We'll see what he ends up at. He can get a maximum score of 138 if he both flawlesses and perfects and flying kills, but that's still not going to be enough, unfortunately, to make it into the finals. And it's too bad because I think I well understand making huge mistakes that just cost you the run. But yeah, that one mistake on that ring 3 playing on the bottom floor, unfortunately, was the death knell for him.
Yeah, because he could win if he didn't have the restart penalty.